Yes.
Ooh,
All right.
watch the language.
That's Zoom. I got to share. All right, and we have Wayne and Tom on. Wayne and Tom, can you guys see the deck?
Sure can.
All right. You guys are not very loud, and I don't seem to have a way to get you louder, but we'll go ahead and start going through this. All right. And welcome, everyone. Thanks for coming out to our August meeting. All right, so first reminder is there is no actual meeting next month. We are having our ASEM picnic out at shelter number 3. So this was in a newsletter. It'll be in the next newsletter too. So yeah, should be good. I will be picking up brats, hamburgers, and pork steaks, and we'll actually be grilling there because I like to grill. I was already told not to pick up soda, so I won't do that. But I think I will be picking up bottled water and getting that cold. So want to make sure we got accommodations for everyone. Now, on top of that, Stacy had this idea that he's got equipment that he doesn't use anymore. He doesn't want to sell it. And so what he thought he would do is bring it out to the picnic, lay it out. If somebody wants it, it's theirs. And then ask for ask for a donation. You know, if you give a donation, the donation would go to the club. So
So they bring it to C14?
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure he is. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going through my personal stuff. I'm going through the club equipment to see what stuff that we really don't need anymore that might be good for this. So it's just an open invitation. If anyone else has old stuff they don't want, they think someone else can get benefit from, and they don't want to put it out on Craigslist or Marketplace or any place else, feel free to bring it out and, you know, get a donation to the club.
Can we sell our spouses?
Only if they don't have,
That-
only if they don't have COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's only legal in Las Vegas or Nevada, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, she went to
Selling
sell
their
Vegas.
spouses.
I got you. I got it now.
Why are you smiling, Jim? You,
Because
all right, moving on. Moving on. All right. I hear someone, but you got an echo.
Picture of John Dobson right now.
Yep, we're talking about the John Dobson Fest.
yeah, sounds like Thane.
No, that's Carrie.
No.
Oh, that's Thane, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I for some reason have been not getting the meeting notices. I don't know.
Notices?
The meeting notice was in the newsletter.
Yeah, it's in a newsletter, and I also in the email that I sent the newsletter out on. They usually
I
have.
never got an email about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
did.
Yeah, check your junk mail, Thane. Just,
I for some reason didn't get the newsletter.
all right.
On the tablet. I got it on the cell phone, but not on the tablet.
Well, it's an email that just has a link in it to the newsletter.
Yeah, I got it now.
All right.
Yeah, you're here. That's the important thing.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So
Okay.
for everyone in the room, because they can't see who's on Zoom, we've got Carrie, Thane, Wayne, and Tom. All right, so just another reminder that the Dobson Fest is next month on the 7th,
Okay. What?
starting at 4
What,
p.m.
Wayne?
So if anybody wants to participate, it'll be at
Yeah, I am now.
the parking lot.
Thanks for calling me.
What?
Okay, bye.
Your intern? Your intern. Got it. And remember the main thing is not to show off our equipment, but hopefully help the public when they bring theirs.
And not confuse them more than we already are.
All right. So the International Library Telescope, which, you know, you guys have probably never heard of before, has a observing week. We did this last year, so this is our second year doing it, September 25th to October 1st. I'm wondering if we want to do something for that. where we have an event where we do something with the telescopes with that. I'm talking with the library. I gotta quit saying so much. I'm talking with the library to see if they want to do something, but I don't know if that's something we want to do on a Friday night. But let me go to this next slide, because Saturday, October 1st, which is the last day of our week, is the International Observe the Moon Night from NASA.
Oh, no.
And they are, hoping that we will participate in that. So my question to the group is,
They be in NASA? What has changed is we know the. They be in NASA?
yeah, they be in NASA. We actually talked to a person, where's Mr. Picken?
Right here.
Oh, there he is. He's right behind me in my blind spot. I forgot who'd we talk to Tuesday?
Registration to the lunar and observatories.
Yeah, but she was part of NASA, and she's one of them heading this up.
She's out of Houston.
I believe so, yeah. So
Phase on October 1st.
it's first quarter.
Yeah,
It's first.
sign up for it.
Yeah, so my question to the group is, do we want to do something on Saturday? My first instinct is, yeah. So is there any conversation that says we shouldn't do this? So, we have several library telescopes that we can bring out, so we can, kind of combine the two. The library telescope observation week event and observe the moon to the same one, and we can bring out beautiful little telescopes like that green one. So I'm thinking so. I think that'd be a perfect place for it. And we can advertise out for it. All right, so is that a yay from everyone? All right, motion passed. And with that, with that, I would turn it over. Actually, you can do this one from back to there.
Okay, and when I do this, you can. Oh, I'm gonna give you the control. Last night, there was a deal on, and I would use the word roped into this, I think by Monday of this week. Apparently Terry Mann, and I get her name, somewhere, it's a later point, right there. I know Terry from Green Bay. And Terry's a real nice lady. She's the vice president of the AL. And she is
Come a little closer.
small of the Ohio, Indiana, I don't know whatever kind of area, we're miserable, and she's the person for whatever that area is. Anyway, she organized this thing. And the Astronomical League has a Facebook group, and from that group, Terry decided that we should have something that's called Astro League Live. So she wants to try to do this as kind of like a Monday kind of thing. And I looked at the last two of them, and they were on Friday nights, Saturday, Friday nights, the second Friday of the month. And I emailed her after I sent this to Chuck, and I said, second Friday, she's actually supposed to be the third Friday. But the guy whose name is Scott Roberts, and Scott Roberts' name is like right there. Scott is like the biggie at Explore Scientific. He's the guy who puts it all together. And so they have to conform to his schedule. So Scott will say second, that's fine. Well, anyway, last night, Bob Anderson did a presentation on the sun and solar viewing. That first thing and the third thing that are different colors, they're hot links. And so if you would download this kind of presentation, you can click on them. And come around the newsletter time, I'll actually put the things in there. Bob was the chief telescope engineer at Green Bank for years and years. Did you get to meet Bob? Really nice guy. That's obviously that's his picture. That he did a solar presentation. Anyway, nice guy, really nice guy. If you're interested in solar viewing, if you're interested in solar imaging, go check out this thing. Bob talks for about an hour, but he goes through the equipment that's needed and all that sort of stuff. And then the good news is ASEM's got all the equipment. So, just use ASEM's equipment and it would do the job. Next month, they're going to try to do this as a monthly kind of thing. And next month, there's a guy whose name is Brent Maynard. And Brent is going to do something on beginning astrophotography. And you know Brent. Brent is another one of the biggies at Green Bank. But at this point, you're saying, Green Bank? Yeah, what is it? Well, it turns out Terry and I and Brent and Bob all go to Green Bank Star Quest every summer. And so there's this kind of flavor there. I looked back, they didn't have one last month because that's when Elcon was going on, but they had one in June. And the main presenter in June's name was Caitlin Ahrens. And Caitlin just happens to be Connie Aaron's daughter, and Connie plans Green Bank, and Caitlin goes to Green Bank. So Terry's got her hand in the Green Bank pocket, stealing all the speakers from there. Kind of an interesting thing last night. I talked for about 15-20 minutes on how to log. I heard after the presentation, 250 people around the world watched it. So if you are interested in tuning in next month to see Brent and whatever else is going to go on, that's going to be on September 16th. It's a Friday night. It's going to be 6 o'clock, terrible time for us in the Central Time Zone. But if you're interested in seeing it but can't tune in, if you go to the Astronomical League's Facebook page, they will have it there. You can see it there. Okay. And so that carries, and I think covers that one. Am I doing the next one too?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it in my hand.
Yeah.
I just pressed the button. For anybody, it was announced last night that there's going to be an Alcon in 2023. It's going to be July kind of 23rd to 30th. I don't know the exact dates in there. So I gave it a little stuff on both sides. It's going to be in Baton Rouge. Okay, you're going to go down there and have some really good Cajun food, and it's going to be presented by the Baton Rouge Astronomical Society. And there will probably be lots of more information on that coming out later. Can I think of anything else? Oh yeah, a lot of times Alcons have been during the dark of the moon, and so nobody wants to go because you're going to be in a hotel and you can't see things. This is almost full moon, so you're not going to lose any observing. Yes, sir.
I believe you said those dates are not etched in stone.
Oh, no, they're etched in stone in terms of the last week of July, but it might start on the 24th and it might end on the 29th or something like that. So I want this way. It's that.
Thank you.
Okay. And the truth is, you're not going to find this anywhere in print. Okay, so that was just. Yeah, this was last night at the meeting you watched. And I should explain. Yeah, insider news. So that got that one out of the way. Carol Orange? Dane Orange. The president, Carol sounds right. He talked for about 10 minutes about stuff that went on at Alcon. Some of those later. I want to talk a little bit tonight about globular clusters. Ultimately, when you think about globular clusters, this is the best time of year really to see them. And I define that as say, sure, you can see them in January or February or March, but it might be at 4 o'clock in the morning. I think when we observe, we'd like to do it civilized sort of time. So after dark, and as we move into February, dark gets sooner and February. As we move into September, dark gets sooner and sooner. So by the middle of September, hey, you go out at 7:30 at night, and it's like, oh, let's observe for a while. And you get 2-3 hours in, you come back in, you still get a good night's sleep. Yeah. Globular clusters are just a great target to look at, okay? If you're interested in pulling this down, these next few slides are all going to be in that tiny URL down at the bottom, and that's going to be in the newsletter. What I'd like to do tonight is talk about what globular clusters are and give you some kind of information that you can kind of regurgitate if you were doing outreach. I'd like to show you where globular clusters are located in the Milky Way. I'd like to talk a little bit about a tiger, and that will become more appropriate later. Ultimately, in the Astronomical League, they have a globular cluster observing program. I'd like to talk a little bit about the requirements and how to do the shape and sort classifications. And then I'd like to talk a little bit about globular cluster observing challenge. And then truthfully, one of the things that might be holding some people back is they don't know how to sketch. And I want to show you how you can try to sketch them. But man, I'm not a sketcher. I wouldn't fit that deep. Globular cluster facts, and I'll let you read the screen. You don't need me to read all that out, but they're densely packed and they're really, really, really old. Like it's in maybe up to 10 billion or more years old, considering they think the galaxies, not the galaxy, the universe is 13. You know, they've been along for a real long time. They got lots of stars in them, hundreds of thousands, in some cases, maybe 1 million. And they generally can be found around spiral galaxies. They have actually seen them in other spiral galaxies. And truthfully, I got a picture here in just a minute of a spiral galaxy that's got them. They don't know how they were formed. I was hoping Stacy was going to be here, and I had this all planned. I said, we don't know how they're formed. Not Stacy's, I don't know. But anyway, he's not doing outreach.
How are they formed, Stacy?
I don't know. Whatever. And we don't have a clue how they develop. They're just out there. They do apparently move. They know about 150, I think it's a few more than that, around our particular, our planet. We know that there are probably going to be more. Diagonally across the Milky Way center, you can't see all that obscuring kind of stuff. 3 constellations in particular have lots and lots. Ophiuchus, Scorpius, and Sagittarius, 79 in those 3 constellations alone. Considering 150 years are known, more than half are in just those 3 constellations. They think there are about 200. That's a guess, and it's guessed on just statistics of where the ones they know are. And so this is how much it's left. So given that fraction, we're going to guess here. They formed probably really, really, really early, and they flattened into before our galaxy flattened into a disk. That's what I'm not reading. They're big. I already said they're huge, but they can be up to 300 light years across. They can contain as many as 10 million stars, and that might be like Omega Centauri that they're talking about. Omega Centauri is also known as Caldwell 80. I like this one. It says at the center, the stars can have a density between 100 and 1,000 stars per cubic parsec. Now, we don't know what a parsec is, but compare that to the next line down. Hey, around here, it's only 0.14 stars per cubic parsec. Holy mackerel, how much closer, Alpha Centauri, Proxima Centauri, 4 light years away. How far away, if you're in a globular cluster, would the next star be? Jupiter? Yeah, maybe even closer, something like that. That are galaxy's most ancient inhabitants. And I talked about the age a little bit. I've got this here because they are population 1 stars. Excuse me, population 2 stars. Wrong button. Wrong button.
I didn't do it.
No. I'm going wild on Chuck's thing here. I was searching for the laser pointer. Population 2 stars. Okay, and they're really poor in metals. They're really, really, really old. When you talk about them, if I talk about the sequence of stars and the Russell Hertzberg kind of thing, it's obeifying person kiss me, except it's not a person, it's a guy or a girl, but that's sexist. But anyway, they're so old that the O's and the B's and the A's and the F's, they're all gone. Okay, and so a lot of times when you look at globular clusters, they may have a bit of a reddish cast because the ones that are left are the really small ones. They burn for a long, long, long time, and a lot of times they are red. Okay. You can have red giants in them, and you can have blue stragglers. Blue stragglers come when stars clash together. Little bitty stars that don't have a whole lot of hydrogen, but they sometimes go boom. All of a sudden now they do have a whole lot of hydrogen. So now maybe if I could press the button. Okay, it's tiger time. In 1917, a guy named Harlow Shapley. Okay, anybody know where Harlow's from? He's from Missouri. He started at MU in 1907. Went to 1907, and he wanted to be a journalism major because he had been a reporter in his local newspaper down in Southwest Missouri. And when he got to Mizzou, he found out that the school that was supposed to open in journalism school was supposed to open in 1907. Wasn't going to open until 1908. So he's there. He says, I got to major in something. Story I hear is he got a course catalog, thumb through it. For the young people in the crowd, you used to get a book. And the book had all the majors in it, and the course of study and stuff. So he went to the first thing and he decided he couldn't pronounce the first major, whatever it was. So he turned to the second major, it was astronomy. He went on from there and literally is one of the most famous American astronomers. Yeah. But he was looking at self-hid variables, and he could use those to determine how far away various globular clusters were. And he could figure out the distance, he could figure out the angles, like shooting angles, and he plotted. And when he was able to do that plot, he found out that there are a whole lot of globular clusters that were concentrated above and below our galaxy. And he figured, there must be the center where the galaxy is. And he was able to measure how far that was, and based on where he measured it from, he came up with the first real recent estimate of how big the Milky Way really, really is. I think he was 30% off, but still, it was the first one,
Right.
So that's one of the big kind of facts that you can share. Go Tigers. The last thing I would tell you about Harlow is that he was part of the 1920 big, hey, do we have one universe that's all in the galaxy, or do we have lots and lots and lots of galaxies all over? And he was on the losing side. Okay. Wait a minute, I'm trying to figure where you're talking. Okay.
He did not come up with that.
No, that was somebody else knew that, and he used that information.
I think it was a lady that came up, I can't remember her name.
Was it Sawyer?
I think she went to school with.
It wouldn't be, could be Sawyer. Yeah, I see it now. After self variables noted that, yeah. He didn't come up with a relationship. He used that relationship. Biggies that you might want to look at in outreach, M22. Who's seen M22? It's cool. It's huge. The only problem with M22 is it's in Sagittarius, so it's kind of low. If I say Sagittarius is a teapot, it's up by the. Oh, yeah, okay. M13, everybody's favorite. Okay, Omega Centauri, which is huge. And if you're at Danville in May, you can see it go like this. Okay. Bill Bierman once saw it from Danville, but he had to lay on his back on the ground and look up into the eyepiece. Then M3, M4, M10, M12, M15, M3. Hey, I got M3 in there twice. Sorry about that.
That's because it's twice as good.
That's a twice as good. I like that. Hey, I'll say M80. There you go. 29 in the Bessie objects are globular clusters. Okay, 33 are in the Herschel 400. If you were to look at a new program that the Astronomical League has just come up with, which is called the Bennett Program, which I think I'm talking about later, they're like 50 or 60 in there, but they're Southern Hemisphere. It's a damn picture. Okay, this is not our Milky Way. This is instead M31, the Andromeda. Now, from where you are, can you see funny looking red splotches all over it? Oh, those are green. When you're red, green colorblind, it can be either. We all know that. I would point out, Dan Croson took that picture. Dan Croson even did more. He labeled those numbers. Okay, those numbers are you ready for this? Over 200 and how many? 50? I forgot how many he has here. Over 250 globular clusters that he went to the trouble to label around M31. It turns out M31 has maybe up to 500. So he only did half the job.
Come on, Dan.
But at the same time, I hate to think how long he took.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is a very high resolution picture. You can't see it here. Okay, but if you get the original and zoom in, you can see each and every one of these labels. Okay, there are globular clusters around other galaxies. Well, that proves it. Okay, you good? Wasn't me. Or they're in the Milky Way. This is from an old program written by Bill Chomsky of Sky Safari fame. It was the program is called Where is M13? And you can still find it on the internet. And when you type in show me them all, that's supposedly the Milky Way. And it can show you a distribution of the Milky Way across the barred part of our galaxy and also above and below the plane. In the real program, you can actually click on the little dots you see there. And it'll tell you, oh, it's M whatever, whatever the numbers are, the NGC number. I kind of like that. I know Bill because I was his, I was his AABSO mentor.
AABSO.
American Association of Variable Star Observers.
Thank you.
Okay, so where are they located in the Milky Way? This is another way of looking at it, which you might be a little bit happy to see. And you'll notice that whole splotch of blobs right in the center. That's where they're concentrated. Guess which way the center of the Milky Way is? Right there. Would you like to guess what three constellations that represents? Ophiuchus, Scorpius, and Sagittarius. And so if you're looking, when is a good time of year to see them? Summer, like right about now, into September, into October. Does that mean you can't see them any other time of the year? By the way, we're trying to stay above the line. Below the line can be Southern Hemisphere. But looking at this, yeah, you'll see like there's some here. We can pick them up other times of year. It's just that they're few and far between, and they're not as spectacular. Okay, Astronomical League has one program to look at the globular clusters. It's a fun program. You select a minimum of 50 globular clusters. I have a problem. I need to be the other place. 50 globular clusters out of this list. And the list has got, I think, 190 or so, but not all of them were possible. And the reason why not all of them were possible, some of them turn out to be around M31. And it takes one honking big telescope to be able to resolve those. Okay. Some of them in the Southern Hemisphere. You have to go south to be able to see them. You need to determine the Shapley-Sawyer concentration for each element. We've talked a little bit about that a couple of times before, and I have a slide or two after this. If you're a visual observer, you need to do one challenge object. Challenge objects are generally smaller and dimmer. Okay, You can do them from Robinson Park with the C14, I swear, I did. Imagers have to do 3 challenge objects. That's no sweat at all if you're an imager. You can do 10 or 15 of the challenge objects. It's no problem whatsoever. You need to log it all. You put in the log the name, M22. You say when you saw it, what time you saw it, probably as close as you can to the minute. And you can use local time or universal time. You need to estimate the seeing and transparency. We'll talk about that sometime. The latitude and longitude, and a sketch or description of what the instrument is used. That link down at the bottom of the page where you get the newsletter, that's the page that the program is on. Let's turn this way. There is a book. Yeah, there is a book.
It's a good book.
The target list is not on the astronomical lead webpage. It is one of the few that don't have it. Why isn't it there? Because they want to sell the book. Now, that's happened in other places. And what happens is it's some club that made the program says, let's raise money, let's pay a book, let's pay a book. If you look hard enough, you can find them. Okay. I also have a copy of the booklet. If anybody would like to borrow, you can borrow it. My name is on the inside front cover. Let's get it back to me eventually, so I can upload it to other people.
And no Xeroxes, please.
And the truth is, the lists go on for many, many pages in here. I got there, there you go. The lists go on for many, many pages. And they talk a little bit about the survey volatiles, which makes up the rest of the.
That's a good reference to have.
I do have here a spreadsheet if you'd like to have it. That is a real live link. So if you download this guy, you can click on that link and you get a spreadsheet that I think I put together or Dan put together. One of us put it together. And it'll list all of the ones that occur. And one of the truths is you do have to do that Shapley Sawyer kind of thing. And so how do you know if you're right? That's cheating. Well, yeah, but it's nice to have at the end. And so I'll tell you right at the beginning, there are 2 different things that you can click. It'll tell you what the correct values are for a whole lot of them. One of them is really, really long, and the shorter list one is second. It's like this. That's, you don't probably. I'm like, it works. Okay, Shapley Sawyer, let's do it. Shapley, I've talked about. Sawyer is Helen Sawyer. She was probably a graduate assistant. And if you've been in graduate school, you know how that works. You know, you do all the work, you get all the credit. So the deal is that they divide the centers, eeny, meeny, miny, well, into how concentrated they are. Okay, the more concentrated, the higher those really should be Roman numerals. Okay. Ultimately, there are a couple of issues. If you're doing these by imaging, exposure makes a difference. If you overexpose it, something that does not look concentrated will look very, very washed out and concentrated. So you kind of got to play this by ear. The idea is you look at the center and say, which picture does that kind of match up with? No, maybe that one. Okay. Could it be a 1? Maybe. Could it be a 3? Maybe. So you say 2, you know, and you just write that down. They will not slap your hand. Okay. It'll be okay. This guy, which one would this guy be? You look at the pictures. This one, maybe? I think that's not. I don't know. These aren't good pictures. I'm going to tell you that it's classic. Okay, you put that home. Classic. I got one more. You would pick those. You want to do audience participation? Anybody want to guess what? I like that word. Anybody want to guess what the first one might be? Pick a number. Jim can't do it because he's already got the program. Come on, Chuck.
Another 8. Another 8.
He says another 8.
I'm thinking 8
8
too, yeah.
Okay. What about the one below?
Oh, that's definitely.
I
That's
think
up that first row
that-
somewhere.
that's a 2 to me.
And see, that's what you would do.
That's a
What is
7.
that hard? Well, yeah, because you're looking at the C14 eyepiece, you know, you look at the piece of paper, but still, that's what you do. It's not.
So what's the actual object?
I'm sorry.
What's the actual object?
I didn't, I honestly don't, but when I grabbed these and put them in, I literally didn't put the object with it. And I honestly don't know at this point.
That's it. Well, no, that's it. That's not, don't care. That isn't care.
And that was an obvious thing. I didn't want anybody to come back and look at it. I was like, that's supposed to be a car.
Well, that's supposed to be a 4.
It's my own. Okay, Astronomical League does have a current going on, what they call Globular Cluster Challenge. The idea is they've got a list of 38. You're supposed to sketch or image 12 of them. I think all of them are in Ophiuchus or Sagittarius. All of them are on the Globular Cluster program list. So if you would do the program, if you would do all 38 of these guys, you'd be 38 into the official Globular Cluster program. You only have to do 12 more. That'd be cool. You're supposed to do an outreach activity. What's the outreach activity? Simple, Friday night open house. Pull up your telescope, let people look through it, show them some globular clusters. That'll work. The starting date was July 1st, the end date was September 30th, and the deadline for submission is October 31st. And I've got the webpage down here if you want to go and see what the object list is, stuff like that. Is it hard to do? No. I know Andy's working on it.
Well, I all kind of look like cotton ball. But sometimes I can do. Let's try. So
I know David Wood is working on it. I think Deanna's working on it.
can you use an object that you've already worked?
Sure. This is entirely different. So if you could, oh, excuse me, are you saying you made the observation in May?
No,
And you-
investigate.
No. Are you saying you made the observation for the Mesquite program in May? True. What I'm trying to say, if it's close to that time frame, you're gonna be good.
Okay.
Okay?
I thought it had to be between July 1st and September 30th.
Yeah, technically, but they let me get away with doing it a week early. Well, no, I said look,
Yeah.
I said, hey, it's the dark of the moon. I'm gonna be a green bag. Can I use that? It's sure go for it.
Yeah, I can see that. That's more like I didn't have both. You guys like, if I didn't have both, okay, you're fine. You got like flush, they need some. Super beautiful.
Yeah. If you're wondering where they are, Sky Safari, the circles represent where the galaxies are. You'll notice the night is August 13th. That's the night. And it's also at 9 o'clock, but I don't think it's be dark enough at 9 o'clock necessarily to see them. But you'll notice south, right here. Okay, the magnitude range. And so how easy should it be able to see looking south? It's problems like south isn't bad enough. Not like some of the other directions. You gotta sketch them. Okay, this is gonna be real quick and it's not gonna be very good. Okay, the challenge requires an imager sketch and I'm an imager. There's a reason why I'm an imager, but see my sketch. If you've never sketched before, here's how it might be done. I took that picture at Greenbank, and that really was a picture before I.
It's easy.
Grant's the sketcher.
Yeah.
Okay, first thing you gotta gather your stuff. You're gonna need a paper and a pencil and a stump to blur, and a stump could be as simple as, 10 sheets of toilet paper wrapped around the end of a pencil eraser. You need an eraser, maybe a clipboard, maybe a red light so you can see what you're doing, okay? I'm gonna show you how to do a negative of it. If you go and get white pencils and black paper, you can do a positive of it. So you start with a circle. Then you add the background blur. You kind of figure out in the eyepiece how big an area this globular cluster is going to be, and you try to put it down, and you try to smudge it out and blur it and make us kind of whatever as it can. Next thing you do is you add the field stars. What do you see in there? Mine are in the wrong places. You'll also notice my stars aren't round. No matter how hard my arthritic hands try to hold that pencil, when I put that dot, it wiggles. I have seen a hint that if you can hold the pencil down, if you can twist the pencil and then pick it up, you will get rounder stars. Will not make it smooth. Put those guys in. Put as many in as you think are interesting.
So you did this, didn't you?
I did this.
See, there you go. I told you it's easy.
Hey. Okay, there's no way you'll be able to put in all those globular clusters, excuse me, all those stars in the globular cluster. So just stipple, that's enough.
You call that stippling?
That's what I called it.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's the official word. Okay, and then finally and truthfully. Yeah, oh well, some of my field stars aren't in the right place. Yes, sir.
Hey,
Like a
it's
mirror
really-
image.
If you take and you scan your negative and you put it in Photoshop, you can,
Wait,
you can flip it.
wait till the
Oh, I
next,
thought you were
wait,
saying.
just wait, be patient. Okay, and truthfully, for the astronomical league, that's good enough. Okay, I swear. Okay, Grant says if you take the thing and you scan it, or you get simple, get it into digital format. I took it with my scanner, not being cooperative, under Windows 11. You can then go to Photoshop and you can You can you can kind of stretch it a little bit, and you can kind of make it kind of. Again, you can also do that kind of thing on the right. I use in black paper. It's okay.
See, I knew you could do it.
Next month, I want to talk about student experience.
All right.
Let me stop by saying at the Alcon this year, they approved the 2 new programs. One program is going to be our son's nearest neighbors. The idea is they're going to take all those nice small things that we've been ignoring for years. They've got a program where you go and find all those M-class stars, a lot of programs around the water star, whatever they're going to be. That list has not been published yet. I'll let you know when it comes up. I suspect it's going to be kind of tough to do. I suspect imagers will probably be able to do it easier than C14 promising. I think it's going to have to do a really dark sky.
Because they're so dim.
Second program is called the Bennett Program. I actually was the person that suggested the Bennett Program some years ago. John Boss and I were sitting around talking to that up here or not, Green Bank Starbucks. And he was saying, yeah, we'd like to maybe move up astronomical to other countries in the world. And that got me thinking that if you want to be a master observer, you got to do the Messier program. If you're going to do the Messier program, you got to do it by star hopping. And if you live in Santiago, Chile, you can't see 3/4 of Messiers. So I suggested, when was it? February, John Buck said, hey, there's this program that the common hunter who lived in South Africa did. His name was Bennett, and there are 152 objects. And, you could make that just like the Messier program. And you could extend that on and say, hey, star hopping and everything with Messier, except it's Bennett. And he liked the idea, so he sent it to Aaron Clevenson, and Aaron sent it for a while, but apparently wasn't sitting very much because at Alpine it was approved. Will we here be able to do the Bennett program? Sure, get an airplane. Okay, easiest way to describe it. I have image from SLU's telescopes in South America, all of them. Some really cool objects down there. But the truth is, and I kidded Aaron, after I suggested the program, now I can do it. One last comment that I would make, and you've heard me talk about Aaron before. Aaron was awarded something at this year's Alcon. This doesn't happen all that often. The powers that be in the Astronomical Society decided to give Aaron the Astronomical League Award. That's like the highest thing you can get in the astronomical. He's a person that's directed the observing program, the observing the division for at least 15 years that I know. And if you look at where it was 15 years ago and how many programs there were, and now there are over 126 certifications, all Aaron's person done. And so Aaron's a cool guy, and Aaron got a reward. And Steve, I think, is done.
All right. Thank
Unless
you,
the next
Steve.
one is a slide that I already talked about.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Good stuff.
I'd
All
like
right,
to-
next, and then we can let Mr. Pickens speak a little bit here. But IDA Missouri, last year we had our first conference. It went really, really well. I had a good time there. This year, we are doing it again, September 30th to October 2nd. I didn't put the place it is. Oh, really? Okay. My bad. So September 30th to October 1st. And Jefferson College in Kansas City, what's the college? You got it down. Can you say a little louder for the crowd on the phone? On Zoom? All right, now Donna can't speak. Okay, where's that again? John?
It's at Johnson County Community College. So it's a Friday night happy hour. And then we're gonna go to Powell Observatory. The astronomical Kansas City is gonna give a tour, private tour of that. And the next day, it's all day Saturday, starting at 9 o'clock to 4:30. Then we have a keynote that Saturday night. Guys, he's an author and he's very well spoken. He's written a number of books. And so we'll end that Saturday night. So that's also, by the way, International Observe the Moon Night. So October 1st. So.
Oh, man, it's all just kind of colliding there.
Yeah.
And just like last year, it's free registration.
Yeah, it is free. Obviously, you if you want to come to see observatory, you got to come to Kansas City, but we do offer virtual. So you can do a virtual. We're going to do a webinar on Saturday and Saturday night, 2 separate webinars, and you can tap in. So.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much, sir. And now I think that might be, yep. Now we're up to Mr. Grant Miller. Doing some fun with the moon. Give us just a couple of minutes. Grant and I need to do a little finagling to get his going. So give us 2 or 3 minutes and we should be good to go.
Could I mention something?
Where's Grant Miller at?
Grant
This-
Martin, my bad.
Oh, is that me? Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
No wonder you, no
Uh,
wonder he's giving me that funky smile.
Yeah, so you might want to stop sharing screen and get the camera.
Yeah.
on Zoom.
All right. Couple minutes here, guys. I'm gonna stop sharing.
I'd like to mention something if I could. Can you hear me? Chuck?
I switched it, Grant. Oh, there we go.
Well, you want to make sure that, the camera's being seen by the
Hey,
people.
Chuck.
Hey, Chuck?
Yeah.
We'll make sure that.
Yeah, I'm waiting for your stuff to get up there.
Yeah.
No, I pushed it once.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
me.
Okay.
No, we want you up there. Here, I need you up there and then I'll get everything going on mine.
Hey, Chuck?
Dane, I don't think he can hear you. Why don't you wave your hand or
Okay,
Hey, Tom.
he'll look.
Hey, Chuck.
Chuck.
Yeah, you want that middle one, right?
All right, so now I'm getting ready to share. That didn't work out.
Yeah, it's that middle one. What is the middle? The
Give me
middle one is.
Oh, actually,
Chuck Sims.
I don't know if I need to do that. So it's just gonna be on me. They just need to focus on that.
Well, no, they can't. It needs to be full screen. Right click
They,
on it.
they can make it full screen.
No, I don't think they can.
I think they do think they can.
We did it 2 months ago, and your wife got on Zoom.
Okay.
Screen.
Hey, can we get a little quieter, guys? Little quieter in the galley. All right. Hey,
Flip it.
hold on, Tom, Carey, just want to use you guys here real quick. So for my camera, you can see that where it says a few months ago on Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you guys able to make that bigger? Or do I need to do something at my end?
You need to share that. You need to share that.
I'm already sharing it. It's my camera.
Yeah,
That's
it
what I'm saying.
won't.
Share the window.
I don't know that I can share that one.
Um,
I can share screens. I can't.
Open up that camera app. Open up the camera app.
Okay,
We're using it.
just, it's just like a speaker. It's just a speaker and it's a presenter mode that they need to put it in. Hold on. This is what you want right there. Except it's going to be this particular one. Like that.
Okay.
Okay, is that big on your screens now? Okay, Tom's saying thumbs up. All right, we are good to go, my friend.
Now, the question is, can you hear me, Tom?
Yes, can hear you.
Can you hear me,
And-
Tom?
Yes,
Okay.
and
So I'm gonna put that right there.
Dane,
All right.
Chuck,
What the hell is that?
Chuck.
All right. All right, you guys ready in here?
Yeah.
I
What to say, Dane?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention some things about the globular star clusters.
We're gonna get ready to go here. Hey, I just saw a note that said Thane wants to say something. I think in the note it's like from earlier in the meeting. So I apologize, Thane, that I just now saw that. What did you want to say?
I wanted
do
to
you want
mention
to say?
that there's a couple of challenges that I've seen from here. One is to see
I
a
cannot
lake
hear you,
Venturas from here. I've seen it from my yard already. It's just unresolved, but you
All
can
right, I
spin
got
it
sound
out
up all the way
real
and
low.
I'm not hearing Thane.
Not hearing me?
Can you hear anybody else on there?
Can someone else speak? Let me just see if it's Thane or if it's
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me? This is Carrie.
Yeah, can you hear me?
it should be going through the speakers.
I want to make absolutely sure everybody doesn't confuse us with professionals. We are not professionals.
I very seldom confess to anything.
All right, It's a save my butt kind of thing.
All right. Guys, on Zoom, I apologize. It sounds like we're not getting audio in. I will play with that and see if I can get it going. I'm not sure what the issue is. So
Okay.
I heard you guys earlier. That's the weird part. So, all right. All right, Grant, let's go ahead and go and they can hear us, but we can't hear them.
Okay. All right, so who knows, everybody here knows what SLAS is? The St. Louis Astronomical Society?
Never heard of it. Are they new?
St. Louis Astronomical. So there's a number there by the name of Mark Jones.
She went to Green Bay.
He went to Green Bay. Yeah, he's been to a couple places. He's kind of like a pretty cool Facebook user for SLAS. And a couple of months ago, he posted a challenge. And I see Mark do these things and I'm like, uh-oh. So his challenge on Facebook, it was a warning, it's a brain teaser ahead. And only that. So we are all familiar with the photo of the Apollo Earthrise. That's the video. It was taken from the command modules that orbit the moon, right? So it's not really an Earthrise because you're not standing on a surface. You're letting the orbital dynamics create the illusion of an Earthrise. So yeah, this is first question. What was the first question, which was, could Earthrise be photographed from any of the Apollo landing locations? And I'm like,
No.
that's a hell of a good idea. I mean, that's a good question because, we sit here and we see the moon from our perspective and it rises in the east. It goes across the sky and it sets in the west. Okay. But every night it kind of like rises a little bit earlier. And when you're at first quarter, when it transits at midnight, the next night it's a little bit further over that way. And then I have that. So there's this crazy dynamic. It's like the sun comes up in the morning, sets at night. Like clockwork. The moon's got this really kind of crazier dynamic going about it. And it has phases. And it set the anxious hair on fire. They could actually get everything else figured out. But this moon thing is crazy.
Hey, Grant, just real quick for Zoom, if you get up there, they can see you.
Oh, I have to toggle this thing.
Okay.
So now you gotta think, okay, so if you're standing on the moon, what's it like to observe the Earth? Does it rise in the east and set in the west, or I don't know, and so now for a week I'm sitting here puzzling this thing, puzzling, and I'm like, well, shoot. So I have to think about this. So we see one side of the tidally locked, right? Okay. So, and the brain just kind of goes, okay, well, because the Earth is rotating. So if I'm looking at the Earth from the moon, then I should be able to see that rotate throughout the day. Cool. So I fire up Starry Night Pro, and I have to do this manually because Starry Night Pro and I had issues. So I pull this up. And this is a view from Starry Night Pro. The Earth is at the center. And I picked Surveyor because it is in the center of the face of the Earth, so of the moon. So now if I animate this for a period of every 3 hours, this is the path that the Earth traces in the sky, the apparent path, and it's caused by these dynamics of the moon's orbit, the Earth's orbit, the moon's motion, and the Earth's motion. So this is 1 month. That's 1 month. So we know that the Earth its axis is tilted, and our path around the sun is an ellipse, and the moon's axis relative to the Earth is tilted, and it's an ellipse. It's not a perfect circle, so it gets farther away and it gets closer. So if I was at Surveyor at the center of the moon and I looked up and I plotted out the Earth for a month, that's the path it would make. It's not rising in the east and it's not setting in the west. It's just fixed. And see that little thing right there? That is the zenith. So the Earth is very rare, pardon?
See it from the dead center of the moon?
Oh, the moon, yeah, it's the zenith on the, so when you look straight up, wherever you're at, the straight up point is the zenith. So the Earth is very close because it's right in the, we're looking at it's right in the center of the moon. So we're looking straight at the Earth. Like, oh. Nice to have animations. Things make a whole lot more sense than your brain trying to juggle all this stuff, right? So that's what it would be at the center. So now you got to start thinking, well, pardon? There you go. Shift F5. Okay, now everybody remembers this. I don't know if everybody should remember this photo, right? That's Harrison Schmitt. This is Apollo 17. And they took this really cool image. And Apollo 17 is here much closer. I'm sorry. So Apollo 17 is much closer to the moon. Okay? It's a little bit further along. So what would the view look like from the Apollo 17 landing site? Okay. There you are. This is December 12th, 1972, when that picture was taken. So we're going to animate this for a bit. There's 2 weeks. And of course, the interesting thing about this is when you have a full moon, from the moon, you have a new Earth.
Yeah.
Okay. When you have a new moon, you have a full Earth. So what we have here is we have an almost full moon and an almost new Earth. We'll finish this up. And it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get Earthrise or Earthset at the Apollo landing site. I'm not going to go through the other 5. Okay.
This was the worst, the best chance.
This is about the best chance because Apollo 17 is closest to the limb, right? So let me get this over here. I'm gonna get over here, Alt Tab, and then Shift F5. Right here. So let's go to Grimaldi, which is even closer because this is going to be a point of interest here in a little bit. And we go in here, we go over here. And we come over here. And we're going to notice I can't talk and do this at the same time. Okay. So now the Earth is much closer to the horizon. Right? And if we put it in animation, we're going to get that might rats. Now, this is what you call a brute force method. Because I got to looking at this, and I'm going to get a little bit out of order here, but this dimension from here to here is about 15 degrees. It's going to be key. That's going to be key to figuring out where on the moon you can actually get an Earthrise and an Earthset from the surface of the moon. And here we go. All right. Yeah. Come on. Come on. Come on. There we go. So if we go to Crater Nicholson, then we'll actually have a pretty good chance of seeing an Earthrise and an Earthset. There's Nicholson. There's Nicholson. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Bang! There you go. So there's a nice Earthset, and there's a corresponding Earthrise. Now, the interesting thing about this is, notice how it's above the horizon most of the time, and the Earthset to Earthrise is smaller. So you're going to see more of the moon above the horizon. You're going to see below it. But then that's because Nicholson is exactly well placed for a good equal Earthrise and Earthset. So let's get out of here. Uh-oh.
Mark Jones made this, questionnaire or whatever else in like 15 minutes, they probably caused you days.
Months, I say, months. I've gone crazy over this. So we have this thing called vibration, which is this combination of all of these dynamics occurring over the period of a lunar month. And the cool thing about vibration is, while we see 50% of the face of the moon, it causes the edge, as you see this thing kind of wobbles. So we get a chance to actually look around the edge of the moon and see part of the moon that we can't normally see on 24/7 kind of. If you look, you can see here's Chrysium. There's Grimaldi. So as Chrysium comes in, you see we get this at the bottom. You're able to see how this is wobbling as we're close to the horizon. I'm sorry, the edge. And then this is not the best one. Libration, this is interesting about libration, is it's not the same thing every month. Okay. It tends to wobble, and then as we get into a certain dynamic, you'll see one side really swing out when it's lit. And then a couple of months later, it'll swing out again, but it'll be a new moon. But you can see that because of this, we can see more than 50% of the face of the moon. This is part in yellow, which we can't see because it's on that other side of the moon until libration moves that in our view. This is about 5% more, so it's 10% more of the moon than we could see in here. And this is the key. Right here is a feature called Mare Orientale. It's an impact site, but it's big enough that they gave it the name Mare. Right? And it is sitting exactly on a libration zone. You got this part here, which you can see all the time. Then you can see this part during a favorable libration. And well, then we can't see that part unless we put something in orbit and take a bunch of photos. So this is a photo of one of the better librations. So here's Mare Orientale here. And then you can tend to see the ring pattern from the ridges and the mountains that it created. No, not you. Back in 2002, I was looking at the moon and I noticed that over here, because it's flip, I thought, I don't remember seeing something like this. So I sketched it out, Grimaldi, Horizon or whatever the hell that is. And I made some notes. And then I went back and I looked up a few things and it popped up. This is supposed to be one of the best librations for years of this part of the moon. Cool. So we got another one. We just had one in January. November, we're having another one where you'll be able to see more of Mare Orientale than you can for the better part of 10 years. So it's a rare thing to catch.
Now it's gonna be cloudy, almost everything.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't exactly, exactly. January was pretty bad too. So I picked out 5 craters. There's Eisenstadt. We're going to leave that alone because we were just at Nicholson, which is just on the inside of the visible part of the face of the moon. We got crater Kopp. That's on the line. We got crater Holman, which is in the libration zone, but pretty much in the center of Mare Orientale. And we got crater Lowell, which is outside the libration. Now, we come out of here. Over here, we're going to pick. We just did Nicholson. So now we'll pick and we'll look at Kopp.
Is this off in November?
No, well, this is just, a view of the Earth from Kopp throughout lunar month or so. So this just gives us an idea of what we would be seeing from that edge of where the libration zone starts. And we've got a really nice
Yeah.
earth set. And we got a really nice Earthrise. And that's a month from crater comp. And we notice now that it's in sight, it's above the horizon 50% and below the horizon 50%. And I believe this is the one I want to kind of let run. No, the next one is one I want to let run. That's comp. And then we're going to go look at Homan. We actually look at the Earth from Homan. So it's below the horizon. And we set this running. I don't know. This is one of those effects that you get. Oh, look at that.
But
Missed it, like you said,
I
by
figure you're-
that much. Where am I going?
vibration.
Vibration. Can everybody say vibration? So we'll let this run for another couple months. So for that month, you couldn't even see it. And now, oh, look at that. Look at that. And it's hard to see on this screen. I wonder what it looks like over there. No, oops. So I'm just going to kind of zoom in here a little bit. So there's the horizon, that edge right there. And it's just a sliver of the Earth. So now I guess we can call that an Earthrise. And there's the Earth set. We go for another month. Ah, so here's the horizon here. So now it's just peaking up a little bit more. So now we had 1 month where there was no Earthrise and Earth set. And we got 2 months where there's kind of a Earthrise. Oh, thank you very much. Excellent. Can everybody see that horizon line?
Yes.
Okay. So now we're going to let it run for another month. Anybody ever play with a spirograph? There we go. So now we got 3/4 of the Earth above the horizon. So now we've got 2 months where we didn't have anything, and then 2 months where it's been kind of like, And there's a,
Showing the center of the,
pardon?
the line is showing the center of the, yes.
Yeah. It's that apparent path traced out by the Earth. So it looks like we are going to have a really odd situation. We're going to see some months where we won't see an Earthrise, some months where we will, which is, that's kind of unusual. I'm open up another view from a different time in this whole. So the period of these, how do I say this? So the moon has an 18-year cycle. It repeats its motions every 18 years. Thank you.
What's it called?
A Saros cycle. So I want to open up the next one. Open. And I want home and graves. Okay. And this is where this would be an interesting view if you were on the moon. So the Earth is coming up. And it just sits on the horizon.
Rolls in the ball, all right.
It rolls, yeah, it does. If Dan could get a couple of his minions up on the moon to do some imaging for us, that would be cool.
Can you put a telescope up there, Dan? Camera?
So that would be I can't remember the date. It's about a 4-day process to do a rise and a set. And then and if we were on Homan for a couple of years, it's going to go fast. So this is where we tend to get the spirograph. Now we noticed that we only had 2 Earthrises and 2 Earth sets, and then the rest of them for 1, 2, 3, 4 months was nothing. So it's like, where'd it go? And then last but not least, we'll do Weber or Lowell. Where's Lowell? Did I call that Webb? Ooh. Yeah, planet create them all. And so nothing. Nothing. Pardon? Say what?
Why you like that fast?
Make it fast? Oh, well, the point is if you're on the far side away, on the far side of the libration zone, you're never going to see the Earth. And that was the point. And this is key. So this dimension here is 15 degrees. And it works out that if you pick a point on the face of the moon, it's 90 minus 15, which is 75. Okay. Any longitude 75 degrees or greater is going to get you an Earthrise or set, because you have to be within 15 degrees of the libration zone for this bottom part to just touch that libration zone. So if you're at 78 degrees longitude, then you're going to see something. You're going to see the Earth cut the horizon. Right? So it took me a good 15 hours of doing this simulation before it dawned on me that there's an arithmetic way to determine this. And I could have not gone to about 40 craters on the face of the moon, simulating each one of those to say, okay, yeah, it's getting closer, which is what I thought, and then it's like, okay, that's the brute force method. So I saved you all a lot of time.
We appreciate your sacrifice.
Yeah. Okay. So about Mark's questions. Okay, the first question. Could Earthrise be photographed from, so that was the long part of the story. Here's the short part of the story. So could Earthrise be photographed from any of the Apollo landing sites?
Yeah.
Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 more positive responses than he got on Facebook. Yeah.
I think I remember responding to that.
Yeah. So question 2 is, where on the moon's surface would you need to be to view an Earthrise? Where would you need to be on the moon's surface to view an Earthrise?
Within the vibrations.
78 degrees or greater.
That's about it.
That's very good. Within 78, from 78 to 90 degrees longitude, or in the libration zone. Right? Okay, I have to write the last picnic quiz questions, don't I?
This might be on the.
This, I'm not saying nothing. Okay. Question 2. Okay, we've been there. All right. Question 3. From the location found in question 2, don't make me go back there. Earthset could also be viewed. And could Earthset also be viewed? What the hell? I thought I got rid of that stupid thing. Wait a minute. From location found in question 2, could Earthset also? Oh, I'm sorry. I had this question. I just fixed this question this morning. So from location question 2, could Earthset? We already answered Earthrise. Could Earthset be viewed? Yes, everybody agree?
Yeah.
Because if you have an Earthset, you gotta have an Earthrise. Right? Well, geez. Because the Earth describes an elliptical path in the sky from month to month. As long as the Earth drops below the horizon, you get an Earthset. And with an Earthset, you should get an Earthrise. But hey, I hate when these things happen.
Yeah.
But it can be complicated in certain locations.
Completely above.
Completely below. You can have a month where you get an Earthrise and an Earthset, and the next month you don't see nothing. And a month after that, you don't see anything.
But the question didn't say it had to be consistent, just said, can it happen?
Exactly. But let's see. But the question does kind of imply, could an Earthset also be viewed? Which with an Earth set, you have an Earthrise and vice versa. So question 4 was from the location found in question 2. How many times per lunar month would you view the Earthrise or the Earthset?
Only once for each best.
So an Earthset starts the next month, or an Earthrise starts the next month. I kind of like struggle with this because I have to have a definitive answer that no one will quibble about on the SLAS test. But it is from a location found in question 2. How many times per lunar month would you view the Earthrise or set?
This is a running
lunar month, or is this from new moon to? noon?
See, this is the questions I need to answer in 2 weeks when we propose this question. No, so the answer is, you'll see one Earthrise and one Earthset, and the lunar month is 29.5 days. So you will see one Earthrise and one Earthset. You won't see two Earthrises in the 29.5 day period. Okay? So I think that becomes kind of academic. It's I wrote the question, I wrote the test, and the answer is what I want it to be. So you can have zero. We know that we can have zero Earthrises and Earthsets. Right? It could be one. 1 month we could get an Earthset, and then no corresponding Earthrise for another couple months, or two, for the most part. Again, it's complicated.
Yeah. Can the Rose answer this question in the picnic? And Larry answer the question? I'll say.
I'm not saying this is gonna be on the quiz,
Larry, you should just look at everyone and just stain when they can't answer.
but
The answer's easy, guys.
here is the benefit for a staff member to be a member. Yeah.
Can the answer be as complicated?
Pardon?
Can the answer be as complicated?
That's multiple choice. Pick one, pick two.
Donna picks E, complicated, right?
Who's member slash? Here's your hand. So there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people that will get that question. That's one question with 4 answers. That's a 4-point question right there. And I keep putting Alfred to sleep. Sorry, Alfred.
No, I would fall asleep. Actually, I didn't actually.
Thanks. So, but this, this whole thing did, the last simulation did kind of. It did beg a question. What if? And let's assume there was a civilization on the moon. And you were born and raised on the far side and never got to the near side or talked with anyone ahead, because the Lunarites, they're not very exploration kind of people. They kind of like to be where they kind of like to sit where they are. They like, well, the backside gets light and dark. But so if you were on the other side, you go your whole life seeing the same things we see here from Earth, stars, the sun, the planets, everything we can see here, they can see, except they can't see us.
Right.
For them, we never existed. We don't exist.
Wait a minute. But by observing those other things, they would observe their emotion was kind of funny.
There,
Into the sun or everything else. There's something going on over there.
Jim has a good point. If they were gonna try to make it orderly, man, can you imagine the mechanics behind that? That's funny.
Not only assuming no green men on the other side, as long as we're assuming that they're smart.
However, so Jim, what's your reference point? If you're on the dark side, what's your reference point that indicates that things aren't?
Well, yeah, you're doing the relative angle. It's all about angles, it's always angles. Angle between Venus and the sun and blah, blah, blah. That goes up. And they don't get the same thing that we did with the Ptolemaic system. Now we have circles and things. So we're going to build those. Yes.
So,
We get good.
so when you plot, because on that green line that was vertical, that was the Earth's equivalent. So you would see the planets in line this way through part of the year, and maybe a couple of years, all of a sudden be kind of like this. And because that ecliptic is changing. It's position relative, right? So he's right, you'd have all of these seemingly chaotic, and you'd have to spend an 18-year cycle plotting all this stuff. Well, who was it? It was
Mr. Marion did.
way back when. Was it Galileo that took the data that Kepler used to figure things out? Was that the way?
Brahe,
Yeah.
Okay, Brahe was the guy who just mindlessly documented this stuff. Me, right? I just make these lots and I'm catching the data.
They got a cool moose.
Pardon?
Yeah, cool moose.
That's a cool moose.
Yeah, I used to get, actually, he killed, actually, he said about moose, taking over his parties. And actually, I actually used to be drunk with it and, killed mooses who actually pull out certain of the times you have party.
That's what it brought it.
Brought yeah. He was, yeah, he was.
Why? Yeah, and no,
Facebook brought in a moose.
So anyway, yeah, so it would be an interesting feat to deduce all of this just from, pardon? Oh, I absolutely.
Because they're doing this. You would know something, well, again, we know. That to make sense, you say, yeah.
Yeah.
It must be happening, we're going around the sun, nobody's ever seen.
Say that again?
Nobody's ever seen this go around the sun, nobody's ever seen a planet movie. They haven't.
Well, it moves relative to the background.
They do this.
Yeah.
You know, what's Saturday night, they do this. That's what the planets do.
Oh, I see. This is interesting. But trying to put it on a circular plot. So what time is it? 8:15? I got in the process of doing this. I ran into 3 other cool simulations if you want to see them.
Sure.
See this?
Yes.
Okay. So back in March, we had a lunar eclipse. Where are my glasses at? Okay.
Is that the last one there?
Last month's lunar eclipse from, yeah. So this is what a lunar eclipse would look like last month if you were on. So, pardon?
That's the moon.
That's the moon, yeah.
That's you standing on the moon, just the edge
Right.
of it.
Well, you're actually got a telescope looking at this, right?
Ah.
Because this is a pretty good view. And so you would see something like that. And now, the reason why we get cool solar eclipses is because of that ratio of the moon size to the sun size or distance. They're the same, right? Well, in here, you know, when we have a lunar eclipse, that's the relative size of the sun compared to the earth. So you don't get that cool, you don't get that cool annular with
You don't get the chromosphere.
chromosphere. Thank you. Yeah.
How many years ago?
You probably still get a diamond at the end though, just before it goes black.
How many years, I mean, the Google is moving away though, right? Moving away from the because there's certain years, like years, maybe better for mountains and a half years.
Yeah, you could probably plot that out and I know you could probably categorize the eclipses and, but since I'm never gonna get up there, it's gonna be.
I gotta tell you, guys, it's good finding. Saying that, I think I mentioned that I got to meet Neil Armstrong on a lunar, eclipse cruise.
Oh, yeah, you tell us about
And
that.
I got to ask him one time, have you ever seen, we're all going out to a solar eclipse on a cruise ship, okay? I said, have you ever seen the eclipse of the sun? He said, not from the earth.
So the in 2024, or eclipse in 2024,
Yeah.
this is what it's going to look like from the moon. And right there is the
This
moon shadow.
solar eclipse,
Yeah,
right?
the solar eclipse. Yeah. And because, sorry about that, because the orientation and dynamics of these orbits, the Earth, North and South Pole is parallel to our horizon. So there's the moon shadow. There's the United States and Central America. And this is what it looks like from the moon.
Oh,
There it comes in Baja, California.
Yeah.
Up through Mexico, up through Texas,
up to Cape Girardeau.
Cape Girardeau, out to the eastern seaboard.
That is kind of cool though.
So eventually we'll have telescopes and things to.
We have clouds in Cape Girardeau.
I know. I know. Fortunately, Starry Night Pro is not that good.
I was gonna say Texas looks okay.
Yeah. And then this was kind of a nice little one of those. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. So we're out here, we got our telescopes, we're looking at Jupiter, and here's Europa, and here's Callisto, and what the hell is that? That's the Earth. Oh, you can't, that sucks. This sucks. You can't see that. You have to look at the screen. But there's this nice reddish tint.
I can see it.
You
barely.
can see it's tough.
And it's coming through on Zoom as a little,
Oh, yeah. But it's not very good here. Right.
I can turn the lights down more.
So now it's getting a little bit, now there goes Europa. And here comes Jupiter. And there's the start of the occultation. Now, the thing is, I was looking at this and I go, there'd be a whole lot more light. You'd see a good image of the earth while this is going on. Because you have,
From the moon, you mean?
this is from the moon looking towards the earth, as the earth occults Ganymede, or I'm sorry, occults Jupiter. And when you run these simulations, you see the ecliptic and you see, if you notice, you saw the sun and the planets swing through while it's doing this lunar month. And it turns out there are a whole hell of a lot of planetary occultations of the planets by Earth when seen from the moon. It is like tremendously more than we see from here.
So is that the Earth or the Earth's shadow?
No, that's the Earth.
Okay.
And like I say, it's,
What is the angular diameter of the Earth?
I don't know. Thank you for asking. What is it?
It's gonna be on.
Well, is it, if it's 6 times larger than the moon, then it's 6 times a half a degree, so it's 3 degrees. No, I'm saying the ratio of diameters, right?
8,000 to 2,000, that's 4.
The old mass versus diameter.
4 times.
Oh, that's right. So it would be, well, I'm trying to figure out.
I would just ask, because that would be.
Grant, here, just put that on the last question here.
Ask Mark that question.
I gotta. Hey,
Hey, I can tell you one more.
maybe we should have an ASEM challenge for Mark Jones.
Mark Jones, I love, everybody knows I love Mark Jones. We've been doing those questions for years, and we've had some disputes. He had one question, which is, what planet in the solar system does the sun rise in the east, the west, and set in the east? What?
So here we go.
I have answers to the question.
What is it?
For the angular size.
Oh, okay.
So my hand is up to that.
Okay, well, but so that was his question, and the answer was east. And I said, no, that's not right. It's not right. Why? What is the definition of east? The definition of east is the direction in which the sun rises. So it doesn't matter where you are, if the sun rises, that's east. Really, I mean, that's, it's keeping track of, it's keeping track of these, well, we live by definitions. If we don't agree on definitions, we can't talk. So what is?
According to Google, which is not. And the number here goes to 5 places. I'll only give it to 2. It's between 1.80 and apogee and the Earth is near the horizon, and 2.02 in perigee and far to the equator, and when the Earth is at maximum altitude on the
And
horizon.
those are degrees.
Those are degrees.
That's about 4 times.
Okay, breaking news.
Well, no, but I.
So on this date, we got breaking news from Timothy Gunderman. On this date, today, August 13th, there are 2,291 potentially hazardous asteroids. Boosh.
Wait a minute. There's one of my favorite words, a recent word. Potentially. What's that mean?
Potentially.
Could be, might be.
There was a daytime,
The name like Darth Ziggy, he's gotta be.
Yes.
Wait, I looked at the lady who just discovered the second relationship is Henrietta Levitt.
Thank you. That's it.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
that's right. It's all yours. It's all yours.
Hey, let me get it real quick.
Yes.
And say there are multiple astronomical leadership programs on the moon. And if you're a migration fan, or like to know more about migration, take a look at the Lunar 2 program. It's there's a number of things in there, and only be seen when the babies and the migration are right. If they are wrong, it's either dark where you're looking or it's off on the other side.
And the problem is you might have to wait 18 years to get the one you missed because of clouds. Yeah,
Are we good to switch back?
yeah, go.
All right. Thanks, Grant.
Thank you. Thank you.
there was a daytime fireball.
I gotta get all out.
I know. But at this point, but at my age, it's just interviewing for a future caregiver.
All right, so. We're back on, can you guys on Zoom actually, I think we can hear you now. Someone speak, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear us?
yes.
Here,
We had to switch to Grant's computer, so the speakers were connected with whatever computer was going. And so that's why we couldn't hear you before. I figured that out.
Did you guys have any questions? Did you-
yes. There was a daytime fireball photographed. It was on the news today. Did you hear that?
No,
And then, yeah, and then also too, I wanted to mention some things about globular star clusters. I'm wondering if they aren't the remains of ancient galaxies that merged to form the Milky Way way back when. I know some of them are thought to be that. Also too, from the southern hemisphere down in Bolivia, if you look at M22, it's a half-size Omega Centaurus, but and M13 is a half-size M22. And then some other globular star clusters that are real challenges for you. I've seen those from my yard here. One is Omega Centaurus. You can pick up generally around in May. I can see it from my yard here. At least I used to be able to, but it doesn't resolve. It's just a hazy glow. But then another one that I have seen more recently with a 10-inch telescope from my backyard is G1 in Andromeda, which is the largest globular associated with Andromeda. And I saw it with a 10-inch, and I've also seen 2 or 3 other globulars in Andromeda with a 20-inch. But it turns out I at the Illinois Star Party, I mentioned G1, and people had a pretty hard time finding it for some reason. But it's there's some good views of it taken with Hubble, and it makes a triangle with 2 other stars. So it'd be a challenge for you to try and see.
thank you, Thane.
Yep.
Fantastic presentation.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Thank Mark Jones, man, or curse him, one of the two.
All right, any questions for Grant? Anyone?
Please say no, please say no, please say no.
right.
Yeah. Oh, no. I don't know.
Yeah, Grant Miller guy did a great job.
Thank God I had this ready to go.
All right. So let's go through committees here. So hospitality, Don, Lisa. Yeah,
We did our best to make sure you didn't go home with anything.
and we had
Are-
desserts this month.
Oh, boy.
Last month for people at home, we no one brought desserts. We had
Are-
plenty
are
of
you-
sides.
Are you sharing your screen, Chuck?
Oh, hold on. Let me share my screen. Sorry, guys.
While Chuck's doing that, so I wound up with this thing a few years ago. It really had a lot of potential. Well, I mean, it's the right height. It's got a screwy cap, all sorts of things. I had an intention to make a little, kind of a gnomon,
Hey, Grant,
sundial.
Can you bring it over this way?
Pardon?
Can you bring it over this way?
No, I'm not, but yeah, it's, but the point is anybody that wants to walk out of this place tonight with this is welcome to.
Oh, okay, got it.
So. I don't know.
There you go.
I don't want to walk out with this at the end of the night. Yeah.
I'm getting there. All right. And so next month is our picnic, as we talked about earlier. So we don't need anything for next month. I will be taking care of the main course, but we do need someone for October. So if anyone wants to raise their hand slowly. All right.
Oh, speaking of.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
thank you very
Jim.
much. Jim volunteered you.
Yeah.
She's not smiling.
And we do all there.
You're the boss, you're the director, you're the supervisor.
Get a nice balance of desserts and sides. I like it even balanced.
Yep.
This is pretty cool how we coordinate without coordinating that.
It is pretty good, yes. It
All right.
hasn't been heavy handed for dessert for a while.
We're just getting back into the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we're doing good. We got a good crew here tonight. So,
Yes, we're doing great.
yeah. So moving to outreach, Stacy is actually out doing outreach tonight, so he's not here to speak to us. So, but I don't know of any new outreach coming up other than what we talked about earlier with the moon stuff. Go ahead, Jim.
Hunback Park.
Oh, thank you.
Event is on the same night as our picnic,
Holy,
right? Isn't that right? I believe that's true.
I don't remember that for sure, but okay.
So I don't know if we have enough volunteers. I think Amy volunteered, I believe, last night, and so far I'm planning on it, but
What time do they have to get there? I mean, they don't need to get there till close to dark, right? So
so we might be able to get something to eat and then head over, yeah.
that's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna get to Brummel so you can start cooking stuff around 4:30, somewhere in there. So by 5 o'clock, there will be food ready to eat.
I used to do that, and it's always the hottest day of the summer when you got to try to cook that stuff.
So well, I'm hoping September, it'll get calmed down by then.
We used to do it all.
We used to do it all, yeah. I remember barbecuing out there when it was really hot and you're sweating. That's just more salt and seasoning for the food,
Yeah.
so. Okay, pass that one up. Okay, loaner equipment. Carl's not here, so I'll kind of fill in for him. We actually have,
Chuck, I'm sorry. It is the October night is the night of the Klondike. Camp
okay,
Out. So not September, I told you wrong too. It's October 8th, the night of our meeting on October.
but we still might be the same. You might be able to eat at least before you go out to Klondike and
Yeah.
maybe even hit the first part of the meeting. Have to look and see when the sun sets. Yeah. But we've had some good movement on equipment. I had someone pick up the Nolan 12-inch today, Justin Thompson. Dave Lloyd came over and got the big vinyls. And so those two moved. I brought in a couple pieces that I still had, hoping that they would go. The one on the left, the smaller one, is the Revolution Imager that you can just put in a 1.25-inch eyepiece and take video and pictures. Fred's going to go ahead and take that tonight, but if you want to look at it for a future time, we'd love to get this stuff out there. The other one is our club 6-inch Dob. Would love to have someone take that home with them tonight. It's a beautiful little scope. It comes with some eyepieces and stuff on the side. You see underneath the SkyQuest is a little bag. That's where it all is. Have it Velcroed there. So always want to keep this stuff moving. So please, let's keep
Product.
Yeah. keep it moving. Library scopes. So we just had our last event at Catherine Linneman. That was a great event. We had 25 or so public come out. Andy Walker, Bill Fisher, Fred, Don Ladwig, not picking. He's got his own issues with library telescopes. Jim, Stencil, and then Ed here is also one of our newest members. Thank you, Ed. Come out. So we had a great time. Looked at the moon. The moon was just fantastic to look at. I'm trying to remember if Saturn came up before we left or not. I don't remember. It did not. Okay, I couldn't. But yeah, so I got on there. Our next one's at Catherine one. I forgot to write that. Our next one is going to be in October at Augusta. So if anyone's never been to Augusta, it is a beautiful little city and just some of the friendliest people ever. So I highly encourage you, if you can come down and help with that, that's just fantastic. There you go. Just don't tip over the library telescopes. And the last one will be in November at Boone's Trail, which is off of Highway Z. So couple of them left to do. And then just to reiterate what we talked about earlier, the International Library Telescope Week, September 25th through October 1st. And then I'll put out something about on October 1st about doing something from Seek Park. So, all right. Moving on, beginners meeting, Jim.
We had a brand new person tonight, and then we were early, Bill. He says he's an accomplished photographer. And wants to do astrophotography.
There's the man.
That other meeting over there. But, anyway, they trying to come out to, Rome State, but we're actually been out there checking out the spot. But, anyway, we'll see.
Very good, thank you.
I think he had a good time.
I think he did too. He seemed like a great guy. All right, he's going to programs, always looking for programs. So if you've got something you'd like to present, just let me know. I know, Andy, you and I talked a little bit. I might reach out to you again here. But anyone else got anything to present? Even if, not a full thing like Grant did, just something smaller. I love when Lisa does her little news thing, so
Yeah,
I point her out. So, we do things like that. I enjoy those. So,
reach out to that Grant Miller guy. He
hey,
might have
Grant
something.
Miller. Yeah, you're not gonna let that die, are you?
That's a great running gag.
All right.
It's that member that we always hear his name, but he never shows up.
All right. DYI, Tom, I know not much has been going on. Do you know of anything that's gonna be happening soon?
No, I don't, but I do have a question for Jim Rowe.
Yes.
Jim, I've got watching the notes, your post on the scope mirror and scope builds. Will you be building Dobsonian bases sometime soon?
Wish you could see it.
He's pointing right at it.
I did it all by myself. And Creality under 3. Homemade telescope. Right?
Bring it up here. Bring it up here.
Hold on here a second.
Bring it up.
Like twist.
Bring it up here.
a bit. Is that in there, Grant?
Just keep, yeah.
Can you see that, Tom?
Yep.
Bring it.
Yep. The reason I'm asking is because we've got a college co-op at work. He has received a used 6-inch from another co-worker of mine, which was used in a just giveaway. So he gave it to the college student who has sent off the mirror and the secondary to be resurfaced. He's expecting that back in a couple weeks. So we're giving him guidance on getting his Newtonian reflector set up and he don't even know what the ratio is, but he doesn't have a mount with this OTA. So I'm already starting to think, and I thought, obviously I got to check with you to know if for a 6-inch size scope, do you have a particular design where you're going to build one, or do you have a design that you can reference?
I would say just a standard Dobsonian, made out of wood, plywood.
Right, but I know, I didn't know if you were going to build anything like that in a class format.
Well, I'm gonna try to teach people how to do it. I don't want to do it
Okay.
for
Okay,
Oh, rats.
them. But yeah, hey,
That whole
see if we can come out on our Wednesday nights.
I'm encouraging to do that, except he's right now staying down near Forest Park. So, and working till about 5 o'clock, so it may be kind of a squeak, but he's interested.
Yeah, we can help him do that, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we're gonna stick with Dobson's design for most of this stuff as well as
Yes.
we go here. I mean,
okay. All right,
When it works.
thank you.
All right. Thanks, Tom. Dan, astrophotography.
Third Tuesday of the month, this time, we're gonna have a camp, talk about outreach and his social media type stuff. He's really into it. Last time I was at Danville, he had a one-man production going all night. He was still there when I pulled away with the sun coming up, so.
He's got some energy.
He definitely got some energy. He loves night vision equipment. And so he's gonna talk about that at our next meeting.
He had a night vision monocle out last night. That was just fantastic. I mean, we're sitting here just, you're looking around at people, it's like you could see everyone. You look at the stars, I'm seeing stars I couldn't see with my naked eye, and there's no magnification.
He does this thing where he broadcasts meteors and
Yeah.
like when you're sitting at Danville, you sit outside, you see 10 to 15 an hour any night of the any night that it's dark. But with his binocular night vision, it's just pretty much constant.
Wow.
And he's broadcasting these on YouTube and various social media.
That is so cool.
So that's our plan for this month.
All right. Thank you, Dan. All right, now we are up to observing programs. Absolutely. Oops. There should have, I thought there was another slide for that, but
Hey, I'll mention on CAN and the night vision stuff, Dan and I are on various lists, and we found out last week, I think, by reading Deep Dark, that it turns out for years and years and years, the Astronomical League has been anti-night vision. Okay, and you couldn't use it for anything. Well, it turns out that it was just announced 2 weeks ago, that night vision is now on. They're looking at night vision to work just like any other kind of filter. And so if you want to go out and spend $4,000, you got a chance to do it, go for it, guys. You can use it, and probably it's going to be for a lot of people. I'm standing up here because I think I'm supposed to do some awards. And Chuck put all these things together, and I have all these things here, and it's gonna need all sorts of places. I'll start by saying, and I think everybody knows it, but in case you don't, Chuck went through all the old records that Amy would keep and Lisa would keep, and he tried to find out how many hours people had been out of the park to do outreach. Okay, now, having said that, it's not like it's recorded particularly well, you know, and it's like it's the kind of thing you might see in a newsletter arbitrarily on May 4th. You know, we're out at the park and Jim was there and Kirk was there and Jim was there and we had 2 people with this and that, and he tried to put everything together. Send it to me, I sent it off, and we end up.
I had to do that for a while. And not done yet.
Ends for various ASEM members. Now, ultimately, I kind of have the belief that after you get your thing here, things in some cases plural, we'll get you the spreadsheet that he sent me, and you can start tracking your own hours. Okay, I think truthfully that Chuck has done a marvelous job. But one of the things you're supposed to do is say, this is what you did that night. And it's like, I don't know what you saw through the telescope. So he would say things, oh, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. I think he checked to make sure that Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn are all up.
They were all accurately
Just to make sure. Okay.
That took a lot of time just going back to those dates and seeing what was out.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to call some names, and I have more certificates than we have people here. Okay. And so ultimately the deal is at some point in time, what's going to happen is we're either going to see them or we're going to drive by and stuff it in their mailbox.
And this is not everyone. I'm not done yet.
Oh, no. And we have other ones that we haven't gotten back yet.
And
So-
other ones I haven't even sent in yet.
So what I'm going to do here is I think I'm going to go by level in the outreach program. There are 3 different levels. Okay. And the first level is called, I don't know, the basic level, for lack of better understanding. And to do that, you're supposed to do 5 outreach events. Okay. And that 5 outreach events, maybe you can do more, but it's supposed to be at least 10 hours. And ultimately you fill out a spreadsheet and you send it off to Maynard. I can't pronounce Maynard's last name, Pittengrass,
I think it's
whatever,
right.
something like that. And ultimately Maynard will get back. So I'm going to do all these at the same time for the levels. So could Jim Stenville come up? And I'm going to say, like Jim's just rolled his eyes. He probably didn't know this was happening. I don't think anybody knows. He knew. Okay. And so how about Donna Barnes? And how about Lisa Barnes? And how about Kirk? Who? Steinberg. Who? Kirk? Who? Barnes?
Kirk who? Captain Kirk.
I said it. Steinberg.
Oh, I couldn't hear
I
that.
said it.
Big Kirk Miller?
No, Grant Miller.
Red Miller.
Okay, now.
Jim Miller didn't get anything.
Difficult here.
Oh, he did?
Okay. For different levels, he did different things. And so I'm gonna hand these out in order. I handshake the monkey. Okay, this is Lisa's. This is Donna's. And I'm gonna reach over here, and this is Jim's. Now, for the basic level, the starting level, you get both a certificate and you also get a pin. Chuck organized, I assume Chuck organized the pins on the sheet?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and so he organized. We also have certificates here for Don Ladwig, and we have one for David Wood. So we gotta give you your pin. Some people wear the pins. Okay, some people stuff them in an old 2-inch eyepiece box in the bottom of the cabinet. Congratulations, sir.
Yay. Great job, everyone.
Now, that's the basic level. Chuck has organized this and worried that if you would take your certificate home, you might crumple it. So he has made a folder.
Man, I don't think we ever had an executive director do that before.
Make it better with me.
I see Jim's going off going across the bridge. Okay, so this goes over here and this goes over here. And we are now done with the basic level.
Yeah, don't move.
Well, for some. Now,
There's-
for the basic level, and I don't know who's got what, because I've lost track since I sent it in, and my fingers aren't working particularly well.
Oh, wait, that.
These are-
The first level was outreach, that's the
Yeah,
basic.
yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry.
yeah, I knew that. And so this is the second level, and the second level is called stellar, and yeah, you say stellar, and I only have 3 stellar certificates here. I have one for Lisa. I have one for Lisa, and I have one for Donna, and I have one for Jim.
Kirk. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Now, the good news, bad news.
That's it. Walk away in shame.
No, he's gonna start recording his own hours. He'll be good, he won't miss a thing.
That's a kind of motivation.
On a stellar level, you only get a certificate, the AL's being cheap. If you're interested, the AL buys the pins generally in quantities of 100. They're usually $5, $4 or $5 each. And so when they started the program, that's a $500 bill. Okay. And now finally for the final level. There you go. Now, I only have 2 certificates here. Should I tell the truth? Chuck?
Yes,
I should tell the truth.
you can tell.
I can tell the truth. So here's the truth. The truth is that for the most advanced level, and that's called the what's that highest level called? Master. Okay, for master outreach, you're supposed to do something like a terribly hard number of hours, like in terms of like 150 or almost 200.
I think it's 160.
Yeah, when you add everything together, and you're supposed to record how many people you see and how many you deal with. And a lot of times, if you're keeping that spreadsheet, keep on going after that. I can be honest with you, I think I gave up after I tracked the 10,000 people in dealing. I cheated, I spent a month in Glacier National Park. I saw like 5,000 during the month. So anyway, but in the case where, it's a really good thing to do. So the deal is, besides tracking the hours, for the highest level, you're also supposed to write a document that kind of explains the best practices kind of thing, or something like
What
that.
you learned, what
Okay.
you thought were good.
So Chuck filled out the spreadsheet for the 2 ladies, okay? It had all of their hours. They had all the hours they needed for the 3 different levels, but they hadn't done the writing thing, okay? And I wrote in the letter, the email that I sent Maynard, and I said, these ladies qualify for the first 2 levels. They will later submit, okay? And they'll send in their documents. Well, Maynard went ahead and Maynard said, well, sure, here you go. And so these 2 nice ladies have got the highest level, master level. Without telling me.
And you've earned it too.
But I had to do it.
No, I
Hey,
didn't.
what is I did my essay on?
Everybody here that went master did that.
I did mine on video, EAA. And 2012.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I have a mess up here that I'll deal with in just a minute. But
Did you get the pins for the? second?
yeah.
Yeah, the pins are different. If you notice, the
Yes.
master level has this beautiful comment above.
Okay, that's all we got.
Put them in shadow boxes. They're like.
That's all the presentations for tonight. Now, if
No.
you'd like to see the,
Yeah, one more. Mr. Carey.
oh, sorry. But is Carrie online?
Carrie is online.
I didn't know that Carrie is online. We do have, Carrie has his in his own possession, right?
This was this
Carrie's,
last year?
Carrie, when you do
Yeah.
a program
Okay.
and you email the director, ultimately you have a choice. You can have it mailed to a person who will present it like we've done tonight, or it can be mailed to yourself. Obviously, Carrie's in Mississippi, you know?
Yes,
He's not
yes,
gonna
I've
drive
already
up
got
here,
it.
you know? And so he's already got his, he's gotten his mail. So Carrie Todd, ASEM member.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
First level or first and second?
Just first.
Only the first level, okay? And so
Yeah.
he has his pin and he has his certificate. He will wear it proudly. Now, you said something about, he's coming through here.
Yeah, Carrie, you said you're coming through somewhere in the late September.
Yes, the last week in September, I should be coming to St.
So
Louis.
I will sign it when he comes.
Oh,
up
okay,
here.
so it's not signed by the club officer?
Nope, not yet.
Got it.
Right, right.
Hey, if I bring some bike, can you sign mine? I got something that never signed. And I mean, this is the.
As long as they're real. If they're not real, then you have to pay me.
So anyway, if anybody else works on any programs, you know, give them to me, I'll have a look, you can send them in, you can have a pin mailed directly to you. If you want to present it to the meeting, bring it to the meeting, we'll get it to you, okay? I find that's the safest way to do it. I've been carrying around a couple of David Wood certificates for about 3 months now.
Oh,
It's like sooner or later, I will remember to have him and me get it all together. I think that's it for the night.
That is
I
it.
know what the next slide was gonna say.
No, that's all, folks, but I
Yeah.
take it ahead. Dan.
Oh, wait.
Go ahead first, and, you know, obviously, people can take charge of their own outreach hours and keep track of that, that'd be very much appreciated. But what I want to say is, let's give a hand to Chuck for all
Yeah.
the work he did.
yeah.
So, yeah, and I'm not done. So I have not calculated everyone yet that I know needs it. So, but I forgot to do one thing during the equipment. Dan brought in this, and Dan, I was gonna let you speak to this because we're gonna put this on the checkout list, correct? Sure. I love that positivity.
Well, he's doing that. He's also been tracking library hours. Okay, and so if he's doing the library scope kind of thing, track those. There's programs done the very same way. There's a spreadsheet. We will get the spreadsheets into your hands for the 5 people, 6 people who got stuff tonight.
There we
I
go.
see you. You got ready.
All right. So we got Dan.
We had a past member that's gotten out of imaging and astronomy. And so he's donated a bunch of equipment to the club that I'm starting to go through. And the first thing I'm bringing in is called a off-road sky tractor. If you want to take pictures with basic equipment, you can check this out from the club, and all you need is your own little camera and a tripod. This, yeah, well.
It was a nice one.
That's why don't you go track the sky? And it requires a ball head, but it's got a little solar scope, and this is really good if you have a little camera with a lens that's, say, 200 millimeters or less. You can set it up anywhere and take 60-second or 120-second exposures if you want. You can get some really good stuff.
Would it work with the clubs? What is that, Earth Revolution? I can't remember the name of the
No.
camera.
No,
No, okay.
We do have a camera.
Yeah, this is more or less for a digital camera with a built-in lens, the one that you have.
Yeah, if you wanna go throwback, you can put a film camera on that. And some fast film.
we could get this thing.
Or can you do the middle?
Hey,
That's that.
you'll notice it would fit in the suitcase rather well, and you will go for airplane inspection, you can get on. If you're going to Hawaii,
This works with just a normal photographic, like, nothing special. And if you've ever tried to shoot the stars without something like this, you know, you can only take an exposure of 5 to 15 seconds or so. This don't take much. So guy Green Bank is using one of those, and he had an iPhone with a 600 millimeter use taking nebula shots.
Whoa, 600 millimeters.
Jeez.
Wow, I was thinking, wait.
Well, I actually did fine. I mean, and frankly, the nice thing is it was kind of a cloudy night.
But every once in a while, we'll clear up, so we can go out and grab that thing and stuff, no time to be using it. I mean, and we would have been taking 30 minutes to set up, and he was in 5 minutes, you could use that to take pictures.
Thank you, Don.
I would point out, when you said Green Bay, how many times tonight?
At least
I would
half a
think that
dozen.
Sooner or later, Dot ought to make a presentation to the group about how wonderful Green Bay is.
Well, you've been out there the most number of times.
Yeah, but that would mean I would be biased about it because I've been there so many times, which is,
Well, we don't want to hear the bad stuff. We want to hear the
there
good
is
stuff.
something, yeah, you got to
Hot shower. You're unbiased. That doesn't matter.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the meeting. Thank you, everyone on Zoom. Hope to see everybody at the picnic.
Thanks, everyone.
Who? Go ahead. Sorry.
You say that the results already, what, month or so, or starting to contradict the big bang theory?
I have not seen that. That sounds like a future presentation to
It
me.
does, something big time.
Well, I think there are these guys saying, have I spent my whole career screwed up?
I think they say that all the time.
So let me ask you a question. So you see the pictures of the meteoroid strikes on that? I think it's nailed a mirror. And it's actually punctured the heat shield. There's a couple of holes. in it.
No.
Pardon? Well, but it's happened within less than 2 months. The point being, the nice thing about the garage is stuff gets there and it stays there. So over a couple of million years, you assume there's probably a lot of
Stuff there, yeah.
jump there to impact something that's up there. And I mean, if they can get like 3 impacts in a couple of months.
My favorite story is, the 84 inch telescope in Gallo, I think it is down in Texas. This fellow, the boy went in there one night, it's a 45, so shot photo, and put some black ink over it.
That's
All right, anything else for we stop for the night?
my
Yes,
daughter-in-law worked on the James Webb.
Your
My
daughter?
daughter-in-law
Wow.
worked on the James Webb.
All right,
works so well.
that's impressive. All right, thanks everyone on Zoom. Let's-
Thank you.
Hey, Chuck, does Harry